Well, you know, Michael Cohen's offices were raided, and so were his home and his hotel room. He's, of course, the personal attorney for Donald Trump. But he's more than that. He also handles business for Donald Trump, and he's considered a fixer overall. So there's an excellent question as to which of his documents are protected under attorney-client privilege and which are not. So some have to do with business, so they're not at all protected. Some do have to do with him being a lawyer for Donald Trump. Now, those dealings that relate to a crime would not be protected. The ones that do not relate to a crime would be protected. So you really do need some independent lawyers at the Justice Department or in prosecutor's office to sift through that and make sure that they contain the evidence that actually is protected under attorney-client privilege, and they do have that. There's a team that unfortunately is named the Taint Team that makes sure that none of the documents or any evidence that is actually protected gets into any prosecution. So Michael Cohen's team and Donald Trump's team think that is not nearly enough. Now, that is normally how you would do things, but they have a different idea. Now, that might be driven partly by their panic, as Maggie Haberman, New York Times reporter, reports earlier today. They say you could tell, she explained that you could basically tell, and she used this analogy, how bad the situation is if you're on a plane, for example, based on whether the flight attendants are panicking. Okay, if they're calm, then everything's gonna be fine and it's normal. If they're panicking, oh boy. Well, in this case, the analogy is to Donald Trump's lawyers. And apparently, they're in a panic over the Michael Cohen raid. She said the lawyers are not calm. That is your hint about what is going on here. It may not end up mattering, but there are few people who know as much as Michael Cohen. My guess is it will matter, and it'll probably matter a lot. So what are they asking for instead of having the Taint Team looking at all the evidence seized from Cohen's offices and homes? Lawyers for President Donald Trump's personal attorney say investigators, quote, took everything during raids last week on his residence and office. Now, I don't know what to call that. I don't know if that's white privilege, rich privilege, Trump privilege, I don't know, right-wing privilege, whatever it is. But the idea that the FBI would come in and seize all the evidence seems incredibly normal to the rest of us. But for them, they're like, they took all of the evidence. They didn't even leave half of it behind. Why would they leave any of it behind? What a preposterous thing to presume. All right, I love the idea of some regular old bank robber or anyone else. They come in here, they took all the evidence. They took all the tapes of me coming into the bank. Why didn't you leave half the tapes behind? Only this level of criminals can make these kind of assumptions because they're used to power being on their side and protecting them. All right, the letter that they sent demanded Trump and Cohen's lawyers be allowed to decide which items seized are protected by attorney-client privilege before criminal prosecutors see them. You want to talk about privilege? They say, no. Now, prosecutors, I know you've seized evidence of my law breaking, but I'd like that back, and then I'll decide which ones I want to give you. That happened in your trial, right? I mean, if you've ever been tried, you get to go to the judge and go, now, look, I'd love for the prosecutors to have all this evidence. I'm sorry, but I just can't. I'm gonna need all the evidence back, and then I'll give the prosecutor the evidence that suits my interests. And the judge goes, well, that seems like a perfectly fair request. Let's hash that out. No, that's not how it goes. So, of course, that is denied. Trump's lawyers go even further. Now, they're Joanna Hendon, Christopher Dysart, and Reed Keefe. They wrote that potentially privileged information was seized during the raid. They argue that Trump should be able to review those documents before a Taint Team made up of federal agents and prosecutors to ensure his right to attorney-client privilege. So prosecutors shouldn't decide what's privileged. The judge shouldn't decide what's privileged under the law. Just Trump should decide. Trump, he's like, yeah, give me all that stuff back. Okay, yeah, this you're not going to get to see any of this. Okay, is Trump a lawyer? No. Is Trump's lawyers are going to decide it? But Trump wants to take a look himself and make sure that they have the right evidence. That's not how it works. Okay. Now the lawyers say, quote, there is as well cause for concern that a taint team could not evaluate Mr. Cohen's files, and in particular those relating to the president, fairly. So let me get this right. Seasoned federal prosecutors, their boss appointed by Donald Trump and his boss appointed by Donald Trump, cannot be fair enough. But Donald Trump himself, about an investigation about him, would be fairer. I'm sure he'd be fairer to himself. Would he be fair to the facts? That's a preposterous claim. Just take out Trump, put in any other defendant. Your Honor, I think the prosecutors are not being fair to my client. I think my client should get to decide all the evidence in this case because he would be way fairer to himself. That is not an argument likely to win. Okay, so in a Monday letter to Judge Kimba Wood, Cohen's team wrote that either they or an independent third party known as a special master, these are all fun terms, should conduct the initial review of the materials to filter out anything protected by attorney-client privilege and avoid, quote, even the appearance of impropriety. Federal agents have seized documents in your home, hotel room, and office. There is an appearance of impropriety on your part, not their part, okay? And they are not just willy-nilly taking all the documents and saying we're gonna use them. No, they have a different team that is not part of the prosecution that is going to look to see which ones are attorney-client privileged, and if they are, they're not gonna let the prosecutors see it. And to say that that system is not as fair as the defendant looking at his own papers and deciding which ones the court gets to see, it's a preposterous argument. By the way, not exactly the best judge to make it to either. Judge Kimba Wood denied the Attorney General position when Bill Clinton put her up because of some controversies that the Republicans brought up. Oops. Anyway, look, she's been on the bench for a long, long time, and there's no hint of impartiality there either, but it's a tough draw for them. It doesn't matter because their argument is absolutely ridiculous. Continuing, Judge Wood asked Cohen's team during a Friday hearing to turn over an approximate list of individuals with whom Cohen had engaged in an attorney-client relationship, as well as an estimate of how much of the seized material was covered by that privilege. You're saying, hey, look, there's stuff in there that you don't need that's attorney-client privilege, especially with other clients. So she's like, okay, great, who's the other clients? He's like, yeah, about that, we don't really want to tell you. Well, that's because it turns out we found out today it was Sean Hannity. So finally on this issue, attorneys for both Trump and Cohen have requested permission to carry out the initial review of the seized materials, though Trump's lawyers don't agree that a special master would serve as a good backup option. So they're saying, no, I don't even want anyone seeing these documents outside of Donald Trump. Gee, I wonder why. Well, whether they like it or not, people are gonna see those documents, the prosecutors are. Of course, this is preposterous and won't stand. You don't get to pick the evidence against you. That's not how it works in this justice system. So, request denied. What you just watched was one of the videos that we do today, but we actually do a whole 2-hour show every single day. It's a podcast, you can watch it in video or listen to it as audio. You can download it, you can stream it, and you get it completely ad-free if you could become a member of the Young Turks. tytnetwork.com/join.